Thank you guys for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Mackenzie with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great 30 minutes lined up for you all. Before we begin, I would like to let everyone know that we're going to be recording today's webinar, and we'll make it available later this afternoon on community.franchise.org. If you have any questions for today's speakers, please add them to the chat box, and they will be addressed towards the end. Today's topic is empowering frontline heroes through gamification, influencing search success, and automating CRM solutions, and it is brought to us by WebPunch. Here to provide today's discussion is Matt Jones, John Keene, and Alex Harbanyof. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you WebPunch for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. I'll go ahead and turn things over to you, Matt.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Can everyone see?
We'll say yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Well, we're so excited to be here and to sponsor this Lunch and Learn. Thanks for coming, everyone. It's an honor to be part of this IFA webinar series. Today, as we said, we've got myself with WebPunch, Alex with PromoRepublic, and John with ServiceMinder. And if you don't know anything about WebPunch, we are a Denver, Colorado-based company, and our mission statement is to create cool tools, revolutionize the brand experience industry. And put in the chat, do you guys recognize where my son and I are in this picture? Does anyone have any idea where that is? Hint, we have employees all around the world. I know that's like the most vague general hint anyway, but if you guys know where that is, let me know. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I was reading and this stat has changed. So 99% of everyone shopping online looks at online reviews. I think that's pretty intuitive. A few years ago, it was like 87%. But in franchising, who gets the most reviews? So about a year ago, my partner and I were at a conference for a large franchise system in Nashville, Tennessee. And we had the opportunity to sit at round tables with like hundreds of different franchisees over the course of 3 days. And we were talking to them about reviews and what works for reviews and what they found helpful and not. And what became clear at the end of the conference was the ones who get the most reviews are the ones who have a culture of asking for online reviews. And that might seem pretty simple, but what that means is that those companies are the ones that make sure that their employees are trained about what to say to ask for an online review, when to ask for an online review. And the when part is really important. They looked at the customer journey and found the opportune times to ask for those reviews. And then they tracked to see who was generating online reviews of their employees. And then they made it fun. So they would have all sorts of contests and prizes, and they would make a competition out of it. And when they added all those things up, those were the ones who were killing it in the review game. So that got our minds thinking that it's really about your employees. It's about those frontline employees. And when those employees are trained and when they're valued and recognized for generating reviews, that energy shines through into every interaction that they have with customers. And so what that got us thinking is like, well, I wonder how much more successful happy employees are at generating online reviews versus anyone else. To answer that question, we looked at automated systems. So at those roundtables, every one of those franchisees had a system in place that asked for online reviews in an automated system. So they would look at the customer journey, and they would look at opportune times. They would send an automated review ask, and that works pretty well. Does anyone know in chat, how successful do you think automated systems are on average at generating reviews? And a lot of it depends on the system, but there's an average. If you know, put it there. I'll spoil it. So between the average success rate for an automated system is between 15 and 22%. So that's pretty good. WebPunch, in contrast, has a culture of asking for reviews. That's something that's really important for us. And our best employee, her average success rate is 80%. So 8 out of 10 people she asked leave us an online review. Now, Doreen is amazing. Doreen, this woman here, she is from New Jersey and she's a monster. But our average employee success rate is between 40 and 60%. So between that's pretty amazing numbers compared to the automated system. But what if you don't have really a culture of asking for online reviews? Maybe you don't have that baked in. Well, for those of you who don't have that, let me introduce you to Punchboard. Punchboard is our newest offering from WebPunch, and it gamifies the process of letting you get on the reviews. And let me tell you what I mean by this. So with Punchboard, we have 3 aims. The first aim is to get more reviews. The second is to make feedback more meaningful. And the third is to motivate employees. And it all starts with you as a business owner or a franchisor or franchisee deciding how many reviews you want to get in a certain amount of time. So that could be a quarter, it could be a month, could be a year. And then we'll take the number of reviews you want and divide it by your frontline workers so that we know how many reviews each frontline worker needs to generate in order to meet the goal. Then our system tracks how many reviews each employee is generating so that you can see what performance is looking like. And that gamification is a really important part of this process. So for example, every one of that team in a given week is going to get a text that tells them how they're placing against other members of the team. And let me tell you, I'll read one of these so you can see what I mean. So the middle one says, hey, you've lost your top spot as the review generating overlord. You're better than this. Put your back into it and climb once more to the top spot. Click here to see who's edging you out. Again, it's about making it fun, letting them know where they're at, and letting them know, hey, you can do better if you haven't been doing as well as you could have been. So as a business, you can set what value you want to give your employees for generating that review. So we just have $25, but again, that can change. And underneath that, what we noticed when we were talking to those franchisees at those roundtables was that a lot of them had seasonal businesses. So they had times of year where they wanted to generate more reviews than other times. So we thought it'd be cool if you could set the value as double for certain months where you want to generate more reviews. So we call it double or nothing. And you can select the months that you want to apply that to. We also have a jackpot. So you can set a value for a jackpot. And how that works is you can, for every employee who generates a review in that given time frame, in this case, January and March, that employee their name will go into a virtual hat, and then a randomizer in our software will choose that employee, the lucky employee's name at the end of that month to receive the jackpot. Again, it's just a way to gamify things and make it fun. And this is something you can do, but I think that Punchboard just kind of makes it really easy to have it all in one place. And the cool part is you don't have to guess about what is going to motivate your employees. They can earn that money, but they can redeem that on our dashboard. And we have a ton of different gift cards that they can choose on our portal. So like if they want kind of a cash option, we've got basic Visa gift cards. If they want steak, we've got that. They've got Target, they've got Airbnb. There's so many options. And the idea is, why don't you let them choose what they want to get so that they're going to be excited about generating those reviews? So that's it, you guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Are we crazy? Is this a good idea? Is this something that might help your business? Are there any features that you think that we need to look at to make it better? Let me know. And with that, I will pass the time to Alex.
Matt, thank you so much for the warm introduction. Thank you for everybody allocating the time for today's Lunch and Learn event hosted by the IFA. Quick introduction to myself. My name is Alex Harbanyof, the Director of Digital Enablement at PromoRepublic. PromoRepublic is, in a nutshell, is the one marketing platform for your franchise growth, typically streamlining the process of both comprehending your analytics and the daily management across social, understanding your reputation trends, how your marketing assets are performing, listings, and ultimately packaging that up with actionable insights through data-driven decision-making processes. Matt, next slide, please.
Yep.
So ultimately, what impacts customer choices? As Matt mentioned, most consumers, and I think everybody in this room can agree, we're inclined to go to the more reputable business that's within the proximity, whether we're looking to purchase a product for our household, or we're looking where to get our next haircut. Where do we go out to celebrate that anniversary dinner? what says about your locations online is a huge impacting factor for how customers ultimately choose which brand they will engage with. So where PromoRepublic brings simplicity is the breakdown and understanding of how is search impacting for all of your territories and locations within your franchise network. Are we ranking well on both mobile findability and desktop findability? Is most of our audience finding us through Google search or through Google Maps? What our franchisees are doing locally within their social media channels to really show that they are a pinnacle of a local business within their communities? How complete are your listings and citations? Are you easily discovered for all the buying intent processes that your franchisees can deliver? So next slide, please, Matt.
Mhm.
And finally, the trustworthiness of your business. How is your review velocity looking like? Is this something that's growing over the course of time? Is this something that's helping you index further within Google's algorithm to really get in front of the customers that you can fulfill that buying intent for? And finally, that last curve is that local competition. Are your franchisees operating in a really dense metro area with a lot of competition, or are they the only pizza shop in that rural area? So local competition really plays a huge impacting factor of how Google's algorithm will position you for those indirect findability keywords. Matt, next slide, please.
Mhm.
So what PromoRepublic's been working on over the course of the last 6 months is we did a really deep dive and analyzed over 10,000 locations and service area businesses across fitness, retail, home services, restaurants, and beauty and wellness space. To really understand kind of the current landscape on a per industry basis and really having the data sets to then empower anybody that's interested in getting an audit report of how their specific brand and their subset of franchisees are performing across search, reputation, and social. Matt, next slide, please. So
Mhm.
some of the top performers of the brands that ultimately we're using as that perfect scorecard report card, we've selected kind of those that are shining across all three pillars that are close to our heart to really kind of set that benchmark standard and give you the inspiration depending on what industry you're operating within, some brands for you to also check out as a way to get inspired of the little steps that you can take to really further grow your local findability for your franchisees. Matt, next slide. Thank you. So ultimately, how does our process work? It ultimately starts with the collection of the data just to understand the landscape currently of where your territories, where your locations are currently sitting, giving you kind of the data sets and insights to then formulate those questions and hypotheses on how do you really can accelerate to that next level, helping your franchisees drive more business. The build out of any custom reports and dashboards to ensure that there's really no fatigue of manual data collections for you as a franchisor, and helping you to really identify those trends and patterns that we're seeing both on the brand level and that hyper local level where your franchisees ultimately live and operate, and giving you that insight of analyzing the competitive landscape as it could be different in each territory and each location that you're operating within, just so you have clarity of what your competitors are doing so you can always stay one step at a time ahead of the competition curve. Next slide. Introducing also the newest offering of PromoRepublic is PromoRepublic Copilot. So this is where we're working alongside with your team to really help transform that raw marketing data into business intelligence, allowing you to make those business-driven decisions off of data sets and suggestions that we're delivering it to you. How the functionality ultimately works, it's a collection of data plus our data scientists, analysts that really crunch that out to ensure that you're not digging through raw data sets, and you can really get right into the action based on the reports that are provided. So how the system ultimately works. Step one is, of course, the collection of all the important data points across your locations and your territories if you're a service area business. What traction are we doing locally on social, and what traction are we getting nationally? How is reputation moving over a course of time? Are our listings really robust and completed to the highest potential within the industry that we're competing within? What are local competitors doing? And really cross-referencing it to those top performing brands that really helped us establish that industry benchmark. Digesting out large volume of data sets to really deliver that insight and a customized dashboard that's easy to comprehend for your entire team, whoever works hands-on with data and really steers that strategic decision further. And ultimately giving you those discovering opportunities for you on where you can easily kind of get ahead of the competition and what are the next steps for your brand to take to constantly shine online to help you get more awareness, more local findability, and ultimately deliver more business for your franchisees. So some of our early adopters already of Copilot that really helped us build this out during the beta testing mode. Payroll Vault, to highlight Jessica Martin, the Chief Marketing Officer. It really is helping her streamline the process by not having to manually connect the data sets and really just working off of actionable data to constantly evolve their marketing plan, their strategies, and their playbooks and policies to then how franchisees operate their local markets. Matt, next slide. That's all from my side. If anybody's interested in getting an audit report based on a subset of your locations and cross-referencing it to your competitors, here's my email. I'll also share my LinkedIn in chat, and we will be happy to compile a sample report for you.
Thanks, Alex. John, you're up.
That's so exciting. Love to come in last. I'm the closer, like the Rangers. I go Rangers. Can I say that? So it's kind of funny. We talked about generating leads and also creating reviews. Reminds me a little bit of the South Park episode where they talk about like stealing all the underwear, and then step 3 is make a lot of money, and they left out step 2. ServiceMinder is your step 2, especially in the home services space. So we're a platform for managing and operating home services brands, and essentially where we fit into the funnel is the leads come from PromoRepublic. They dump into ServiceMinder. They get worked and processed all the way through to the end. So when you eventually invoice the customer, take all the money from them, and start the rinse and repeat cycle. And then we can then send that data on over to WebPunch to process that. So some of the stuff we'll talk about in the next few slides is kind of how we tie all that together, right? And how you can add value. Like if you spend a lot of money in marketing, but then you don't execute, or if you don't ask for the reviews, then kind of what was the point, right? So next slide. So again, CRM is that magical step 2 that we talked about, right? So it's the glue that kind of ties everything together. One of the key parts of making that work is you want to make sure you capture as much data as possible, right? So the data coming from all the different lead sources, whether that's digital, offline, or anything in between. So for example, you need to use call tracking if you're working with offline sources. And if you're doing digital sources, make sure you literally track everything. And don't pre-aggregate too much, right? So if you got like lead sources called Facebook, but yet you run 10 different campaigns on Facebook, you want to know which one of those campaigns on Facebook is working, right? So make sure that you capture all the data and pass it all down. So once you know where they come from, and you can then hopefully convert them into customers very quickly. But if you can't, then you also want to make sure that you can nurture those leads that don't convert, right? Because some people, while they're interested early on, they may not decide to buy until some other event happens. And they're really just kind of in the information gathering stage. If you don't stay top of mind with them over time, that's leaving money on the table, because if they're maybe waiting for you to ask them, say a week later or 2 weeks later or a month later, and if you're not there presenting yourself and your story, then they could be going and researching again and finding somebody else. And then even dead leads, right? Everybody has the concept of a lead that comes in that just nothing ever happens with. What do you do with those? Never hurts to kind of spend some time marketing it to those guys as well. Once a quarter, once a year, once a month, just to kind of see if they come in, and also making sure that you reach out to them the way they want to be reached out to, right? So whether that's email follow-up, text follow-up, outbound phone calls, et cetera, those are all really critical to catch them where they want to be caught. Next slide. So when it comes down to doing all those drip activities, we all know that franchisees always do all the steps. They always do all the things, right? That's just one of those premises that we're all based on, right? They go to training and they learn how to use the tool, and then they go click all the buttons and do all that. Okay, well, maybe not so much. So one of the things you want to do when you look at your CRM solution is make sure that you can automate as much as possible, right? So the things that need to get done, that users get caught up in the moment, they're busy doing and delivering service and whatnot. You want to have some automations in place to make sure that those things happen, right? So for example, delivering confirmations, that should not be an extra step, right? If you're booking an appointment for somebody, setting a confirmation should be automatic. Same thing for reminders, right? If you're going to go see them in a week or so, it pays good to notify them the day before, the day of, hey, we're coming today or coming tomorrow. Don't forget about us. And even when you're literally on the way, you're in the car driving to their property or in the truck or whatever, let them know, hey, you'll be there in 15 minutes. They appreciate kind of knowing where it is in the process. And then we talked about the how do we do, right? Did we do a good job? Did we do a bad job, right? So this is kind of where we send the data off to Matt's side. And then the process of asking for referrals as well. You want to kind of automate some of those increase. Now, Matt also talked about how, the response rate for those automated systems is fairly low, right? You can get higher by interacting and generating a human. So how do you do that? Well, one of those is if you're in the field and you have a technician who's fixing to do a job, when he's about to close out the job, maybe he should have a checkbox on his app that says, hey, make sure I tell them to leave a review. And if they have an issue with they can't leave a review, hey, please call the office or text me or whatever, right? You want to tell them that, hey, you're going to get a link from us shortly. Would love for you to leave a review. And those are all for kind of those point of time transactions, right? But what do you do about a week later, a month later, when they haven't left a review? You can also want to be able to create tasks to follow up and say, hey, these are all the ones that we didn't get reviews from. Let's place outbound calls once a week to those audiences, right? So again, kind of put that on an automated schedule, help build up that culture of asking for reviews and referrals. Because if you don't systematize it, then people won't build the habits. And if they don't have the habits, then they won't create the culture. So really critical to that. So that's kind of why you want to, when we talk about automating all the things, we're not talking about eliminating the people, right? The people are critical, but you need the people to deliver the service. You need the people to follow up. You need the people to solve problems. But sometimes they need some suggestions and some guidance, some guide rails in terms of what's the next step to go do. And so you want to automate the process to kind of move that along so it doesn't get lost in the process. Next slide, Matt. So want to learn more? Of course you do. So go visit our website. You can book a demo or discovery session. We say demo, but it's really kind of a, hey, we'd like to learn about your business. Maybe we can see if we can help you or not. It's very fun and interactive. I tell lots of dad jokes when we do demos. So if you like that thing, then sign up and come check us out. So thanks again.
Awesome. Is there any questions for any of us? I guess the chat here. Nothing? Anything at all?
Who's going to win the World Series?
Oh boy.
It's probably not going to be the Rangers, but I'm hoping.
Well, if there are any questions, then we will go ahead and log off today. But thanks for joining, everyone, and hope you have a wonderful day.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you all for joining. Again, this webinar is going to be, along with the presentation slide deck, will be on community.franchise.org. And thank you very much to Matt, Alex, and John, and the WebPunch team. Thank you, guys. We appreciate everyone tuning in, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Take care.